Wealth is easiest to build if you have other people helping you. Like it's maybe think of it like I don't know if you're doing a tug of war. Tug of war is hard to win if you're pulling by yourself, but if you have teammates and other people that understand what you're trying to do, understand the big objective, believe in the same thing you believe, then the what you can build is much stronger and more capable than what you might have had if you did it all by yourself. Or maybe you can even think of it in terms of like if when I went to college, I went to this big university. Well, Indiana University was where I met my wife, but I also went to the University of Kentucky. Now, imagine if nobody thought about the next generation, and imagine if I had to go and build the University of Kentucky by myself in order to attend the University of Kentucky. That institution would have been nothing, right? But the reason the University of Kentucky is a decent place to go to school, or Indiana University, is because somebody in a previous generation, did the legwork to lay out the foundation, right? They laid out the institution. At Indiana University, when my wife and I went back there, we went back there for the 30th anniversary of our friendship. That's also where I proposed to my wife. And one of the things that I did while I was there was I did research on the history of the building that we were in. We were staying inside the student union at this really nice hotel they had there. And I said, who built this? When was this built? And there was a really fascinating story about how there were a lot of people that worked really, really hard in the late 1920s and early 1930s to have this big, massive project that was going to take 12 years, that was going to involve the building of this big student union. And I read all about the politics and the back and forth and the arguing about it and people saying it costs too much and everything else. And I was sitting here thinking, this is interesting that we get to enjoy this big, beautiful building because somebody was thinking about building this back in the 1920s, 1930s, and they didn't even really get to enjoy it because it took a big chunk of their life. So what you're really doing when you're building wealth for your children and grandchildren is you're building them a building. You're creating a campus for them. You're creating an infrastructure for them. And the stronger that infrastructure is, the more stable their lives are going to be. The better off their lives are going to be, the better their shelter is going to be. And a lot of the reason that our children end up becoming economic slaves and slaves to the corporation is because that nobody built anything for them. Or if they did build something for them, it was stolen, it was taken, right? So this is why conversations on reparations and things like that are so important. But a lot of us have to go to work every day because we have to go to somebody's institution because we don't have institutions of our own. So the biggest thing that you lost in the Black community with integration is you lost your institutions. The things that should have been built to protect you, the things that should have been run by you, that you should have inherited for whatever reason when you got here, there was nothing here. So in a way, it's like me attending the University of Kentucky if the whole school had been burned down the day before I was born. Right. So this is what the burning down on Black Wall Street really did to the Black community is it really does affect your life. My wife bought her first house using savings bonds that her grandfather bought for her in World War II, great grandfather. Her great grandfather bought savings bonds in World War II in 1942. And that is what she used to buy her first house in, the year 2000 and whatever. So just sort of keep that in mind when you're thinking about why you're doing it, because the why is more important than the what and the how. All right, so let's see. How does 34 trillion in U.S. debt affect the average person? Well, that's an interesting point, Errol. So there are people who that actually claimed, and I don't believe them, but they've actually claimed it doesn't make a difference, and they've made this claim, which I think is it bothers me because I don't believe it, but it was stated literally by Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve. So he's, a very qualified man. But he said that the debt doesn't matter for the United States because the US can just print the money that they use to pay it off. I'm not comfortable with that solution. I'm just not. Um, I think that chickens do come home to roost. And I believe that the power and the sovereignty of the US dollar is something that is to some extent a blessing that we have, that we're actually able to print, the money that we use to pay our bills to some extent. But I think it's very risky and very arrogant to think, oh, it's no big deal. We can just print the money and it's no problem. Um, I mean, if you could just print your own money, then why do you collect taxes and all that stuff? I mean, because they use their tax revenue to pay things off. So why not just get rid of the IRS and just print the money that you need to spend, and right, so I don't understand that logic. I only stated that particular statement just because I heard it from Greenspan, and I gotta process that. I gotta, because I respect the man, he's smart, but I'm like, whoa, really? um Another point of view is that the debt will have significant problems, or cause significant problems, largely because the amount of interest that they pay on the debt is eventually going to surpass the amount that we even spend on defense. And so, especially with higher interest rates, the amount of money that's being sucked out of the government to make the interest payments on this debt is getting very, very high, alarmingly high. And the problem with your politicians is that they're not very good at reducing debt. They're only good at accumulating debt. So I personally think that the debt is going to be an issue. I just can't really, I'm still haven't been able to internalize. I really got to spend some time really meditating on this idea that we can print our way out of it. I just think any economy that's ever thought that was typically one that was doomed to fail. So I wouldn't get arrogant about that debt. I think that debt is an issue. So one thing you could do to prepare to deal with that, some people buy Bitcoin as a way to protect against the deflation of the dollar, or not deflation, but the reduction in value of the dollar, devaluing of it through inflation. Also, the purchase of gold. Gold is at an all-time high. Gold tends to go up in value when you have an inflation problem, and also when you have risk, when you have geopolitical risk, just all these risk factors that are out there. And so right now, the big risk factors in my view are that people are kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, particularly in commercial real estate. China right now is in the middle of a horrible commercial real estate crisis that is the result of the fact that they allowed all these companies like Evergrande to take on ridiculously insane amounts of debt. I think that their biggest real estate developer, Evergrande, I believe that they were literally like $500 billion in debt, and now that's coming back to really kick their economy in the butt. And so China's struggling. Also, the United States, we could have some commercial real estate problems because of effects from the pandemic. So that's another issue. And there was no link sent for the power play. Okay. You know what? Maybe I can text out a link right now. So let me do that right now. So thank you for telling me that. I did not know. Give me 1 second here. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna send that out right now. If you want to get an invitation to join us for Money in the Morning, just text the word morning to 87948. If you text, so it's morning to 87948, and I'll send you a link to our financial consciousness training. So if you're on that list now, you're going to get a link sent to you right now. Give me 1 second here. All right. All right. Okay, I'm sending the link out now. All right, so if you're already on the list, you're going to get a text message for like right in 3, 2, 1, and now. All right, so feel free to put your questions in the chat if you have any questions. And I will answer the questions. Also, Amani's here. Amani's from our support team. She can answer any questions that you may have. In addition to that, don't forget we have the Stock Options Summit coming up in Los Angeles, April 19th. If you go to stockoptionssummit.com, you can get a pass, and also the hotel rooms there are a few rooms available left in the Hilton as well. And tomorrow night we're doing Dr. Boyce Book Club. If you text the word greatness to 87948, I'll send you a link. The book club, we're reading Dr. Claude Anderson's book, The Black History Reader. We're almost done with that one. After we finish that one, we're going to go to the next Dr. Anderson book called Dirty Little Secrets, where he gives all the dirty little secrets of history to help us understand where we are and who we are and how we got here, and also powernomics philosophy. So that's what we do every Wednesday night in the Black Business School. Okay, so let's see what else. So in terms of risk for the economy, and the fact that I believe that the stock market is ripe for what could be called a crash this year. I believe that there's going to be a crash. But it's not good. It's going to be called a crash. It's going to feel like a crash, but they're really going to call it a correction. I believe there's going to be a crash because everything's going too good. When things are going really, really good, you pretty much should understand that there's typically a thunderstorm right on the horizon. Because what could happen is that you're in a bubble and the bubble could burst. I believe that we could be in a little bit of an AI bubble. Even though some people think the AI stocks are going to keep running, which is possible long term. But I feel like there's something, if something goes wrong, if one of the companies doesn't meet their earnings expectation or something like that, that bubble could easily burst, especially Nvidia. Nvidia's become arguably the most important company in the economy, definitely the most important company in the AI space. So they just had a big old event for Nvidia where they all got together and we're pretty much talking about all the new chips they have coming out and what's going to happen with AI. And everyone's excited about it. And I think the stock might have gone up as a result of that. I think that there could be some overhype. I know that I have not been comfortable enough to, oh wait, it went down by 2% today. Okay. So Nvidia stock's down 2% today. I'm not comfortable buying more shares of Nvidia. Me and my wife own some shares. We bought our stuff like 50 bucks. Now the stock is at $864. So we made money. We're not greedy. We did not sell. We held on to it. If you look, I can show you a chart of Nvidia and how crazy the stock has been. It's just been, freaking unbelievable. So there's been a lot of money getting made here. I'm just not sure we know enough to know where this thing is going to go. I mean, 79% in one, the last year to date, well, the last year, 234% increase. The last 6 months, 98%. This month, it's up another 24%. Um, yeah, I just really don't know if I'm comfortable with that. I'm still trying to process that. I do believe Apple it has some upside though. I think Apple is going to be pressed by its shareholders to prove that it's part of the AI race. They're going to also be pushed to do things to boost the stock price. So a few things that they could do is either increase their dividend because they have so much cash, or they can do a buyback, buy some shares back. When companies buy back their own shares, the price tends to go higher that way. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so Amani, I see that someone, it looks like Veronica has a message for you, Amani. So Amani, let me know if you got Veronica's message. If Amani doesn't respond, I can shoot her a text. Okay, there we go. She got it. Okay, thank you, Monty. I appreciate it. All right, so with that being said, I think another thing that is interesting right now is that we're trying to find out if the Fed has inflation under control or not. If they do have inflation under control, then that means that later on in the year they have expectations that there's going to be a cut in interest rates. A cut in interest rates is going to be a stock price boost. But if the cuts don't arrive, or if they get an indication by the Fed that they're not going to cut at all, then you're going to see a big dip in the stock market. So there is that risk that the Fed is going to just show up and say, look, we don't need to cut rates. A lot of experts believe the Fed is not going to cut at all. They believe the Fed might even increase interest rates. So imagine this, you're expecting someone to bring you a birthday cake, and instead of bringing you a birthday cake, they bring you some rat poison, right? So basically, that full circle or that sort of about face by the Fed could be a major risk factor in the market. That could be something that really, 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 really body slams your stocks. So just kind of be mindful of that. I'm a big believer in risk management. I'm a big believer in preparing yourself for the downside, especially when things are good. Those of you that are in the Prime program, we met last night and we were talking about some stocks that you can generate income from by selling the options on those stocks. I'll get you guys the moneymakers list later on today. I just have to go through it and tweak a couple things. We mentioned some stuff last night. If you want to take a look at the Prime program, just go to drboyceprime.com. If you're not a member, it's a great way to make extra money. It's not pretend. I don't do stuff that's just flashy. There's actual substance here. It actually works. So drboyceprime.com. Feel free to go there. All right. So let's see here. Someone asked about Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. Bitcoin's wonderful. I'm buying as much Bitcoin as I can. Bitcoin's down a little bit this week, I believe, but I think that's a buying opportunity. I believe Tom Lee. I believe Kathy Wood. Kathy Wood tends to be very optimistic, so I don't know if I don't know how smart Kathy Wood is. I think that she gives the impression of being smart. She got celebrated during the pandemic, but then she really got sort of blasted the next year because a lot of her predictions didn't do very well. Um, but she's not a stupid person, and she thinks Bitcoin could be as high as 500,000 in the next like 3 or 4 or 5 years. But she tends to lean heavily on the optimistic side. So when people are excessively optimistic like that, I try to take it with a grain of salt. But I do believe Bitcoin's going to go up. I believe it's a great investment. That's my belief. Shaquana, When should I start purchasing my first 100 shares to trade options? Um, you can do that anytime. If you log in at drboyceprime.com, I show you the stocks that I'm trading my options on. There are starter videos right there that you can take a look at. If you log in at drboyceprime.com, look for Prime 101. We did Prime 101, which literally was for beginners. So maybe go through that if you're not comfortable. And there are little blueprints I did on how I buy the shares, how I protect the investment, how I generate the income. And if you have a few $1,000s to buy stock with, you can, a person that has say $20,000 sitting to the side that does what we do in class, you can easily generate a few $100s a week in extra income, like $2 or $3,000 a month. It's not hard to do, but you have to be really careful and thoughtful about the stocks you pick, and you have to protect your investment when you do it. But it does work. It really does work. So feel free to just log in at drboyceprime.com. Or if you're stuck, you can also email our support team at support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, but that's good, Shaquana. You're well on your way. I guarantee you. I guarantee, Shaquana, if you have even a small amount of investment capital, I guarantee you're going to be extremely happy with the results. Um, Thousands of students are doing this now, and it's really working for them. And anybody who's interested, just try it. I think you're going to really like what you see. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, Shaquana has another question. Let's see here. I'm looking to make $1,000 a month to eliminate debt and become debt free in 3 years. How much capital should I start with in order to generate this amount of income with options? Let's see here. I can't give you an exact capital base for 1,000 a month, but based on the methods we use, I know that I had a student I spoke with the other day. He might be in class, so I won't say his name. I shouldn't say his name, but I think his capital base, he had about 16,000 in his total options portfolio. And by sort of me, literally, I did a one-on-one with him. I went through his portfolio. I matched it with exactly what I own. And by the time we were done, I think he was generating about 2,400 a month in income. Right? So, um, again, no guarantees and stuff like that, and there's always risk, but the risk can be managed. So for him, he has 16,000. He wasn't using leverage. If he'd used leverage, I think I could have got that to about $3,500 a month. So he was using no debt in his portfolio. I said, if you use leverage, then this number goes up even higher. There's another couple I worked with where they had about 80,000 from a HELOC or 100,000. I said, okay, let's take 80 of that and let's pick specifically what you could buy tomorrow, exactly what you could sell, exactly how to protect the portfolio, and lay out the procedure, lay out the process. And by the time we got done with that, I think they were up to 7 to 8,000, about 7,500 per month in extra income. So they were pretty excited. They were actually able to. They literally, I was like, well, how much are your bills? Let's see if we can aim to make enough money to cover all your bills, so you don't have to go to work if you don't want to. And so yeah, so those are just some guidelines. So he had 16,000. So I'm imagining a person maybe with 10 or 12 could get close to 1,000, if not right at 1,000. So feel free to go take a look. You can go to drboyceprime.com to learn about the program. Also, if you text the word money to 87948, text money to 87948, I can send you some information as well. Okay, next question is, let's see. Patricia says Prime 101. Yeah, drboyceprime.com. That's the URL, Patricia. drboyceprime.com. Iron L says it's an honor, Doc. Well, I'm honored as well. Thank you for hanging out with me. It's if it wasn't for y'all, I wouldn't have no friends. Um, Patricia says I just started to purchase fractions of shares with risk management. Good for you. Everybody should be a stock owner. Everybody needs to own stock because if you are not a stock owner, then this economy is probably going to eat you up. And the reason it's going to eat you up is because we're seeing two big trends that are emerging. One is the overflow of people coming from south of the border. I think this is done for political and economic reasons. Number one, the Democratic Party can bring in a bunch of voters, so they don't have to worry about the black vote as much. And then number two, companies need low wage workers. They want workers that will come to work and faithfully that'll come to the Cheesecake Factory and and then don't care if they're making $15 an hour or whatever. I remember, and I mentioned Cheesecake Factory because I specifically remember going to the Cheesecake Factory after the pandemic, and they said we don't have enough workers because, or sorry, we had to cut the menu in half because we don't have enough workers. Literally, they didn't have enough people working, so I ordered what I normally get, which is like chicken teriyaki or something. No, either chicken teriyaki or chicken marsala. I think I mixed. I jumped back and forth between the two. I think I got the teriyaki. They didn't have the teriyaki because they didn't have enough workers. So the workers coming from south of the border, that's going to sort of fill that void for them. That's going to push workers' wages down because that's what capitalism does. Capitalism is not pro-union. It's very anti-union. The conservatives, wealthy conservatives, did a really powerful job of dismantling unions in the 1970s, which, if you want to know my opinion, I don't agree with that. I think we need unions, but they dismantled them. So now workers' wages are being pushed down, down, down. They're not going up, even though you have inflation. So that's another variable that is one that you have to confront, is not just all the extra workers coming over working for low wages, but at the same time, you've got inflation. Remember, inflation doesn't hurt everybody. Inflation only hurts working class people who don't invest. Inflation only hurts people who don't own assets. So if you don't have any real estate, don't own any stock, then yeah, inflation's going to really kick you in the butt because you're fighting a bigger beast of cost. The cost you're fighting is getting bigger, but your sword, your weapon, which is your income, is staying the same size. So basically, with the cost of everything's going up, your wages are not going up. That creates a really unfortunate dynamic, which is only being filled by debt. So banks are very happy to say, "Oh, no worries, we'll loan you money." Well, that's their way of getting you financially pregnant. When they get you financially pregnant, they trap you. That's what they do. The student loans and credit card debt, and credit card debt's at an all-time high, student loan debt's at an all-time high, auto loan debt's at an all-time high. So they get you financially pregnant, and then you're stuck. Then you have to go to the corporate plantation. Go watch that movie, Willy Wonka. Wonka, the new Willy Wonka movie. That's what they did to Willy Wonka. They killed his dream by forcing him into debt. And once he was financially pregnant, he couldn't go out and pursue his dream of opening the most amazing chocolate factory in the world because he was saddled under this debt that forced him on the corporate plantation. And I turned to our 20-year-old and I said, "See, that's what they do to you with student loans. They kill your dreams like Willy Wonka. A lot of y'all have these Willy Wonka sized dreams where you have these big companies you want to build and these empires you want to build and all these things you want to do to fulfill your purpose, but you can't fulfill your purpose. You can't hear the universe's plan for you. You can't hear God's plan for you because you have to fulfill Massa's plan. Massa has a plan for you. The other variable that you want to pay attention to besides inflation and the immigration thing is AI. Yeah, that little thing. AI everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. AI is evolving faster than anybody thought. It's killing a whole bunch of jobs. Tyler Perry did everybody a favor by telling you that he was going to start firing people because of AI. Tyler Perry, I can tell you, when I had a conversation with Tyler Perry once on the phone, he called me in 2015 or so, 14. We were on the phone. One thing I remember him mentioning, because the day before I had seen him on the cover of a magazine where he was the richest, highest paid person in Hollywood. So I said, how does it feel to have your income like, or how does it feel to be on the cover of a magazine as the highest paid person in Hollywood? And he said, I hate it. And he said, I hate it because, who wants everybody to know how much money you made? He said, people only see 100 million, but they don't see how much money I have to pay to keep the studio going. He said they don't see that I had to pay Alan Payne 2.3 million. They don't see I had to pay this other person, the production team and all that. So Tyler Perry, pay attention now. So I remember he was very cost conscious, as most millionaire billionaire wealth builders like him are. They're very cost conscious. That's how they get rich, is by keeping their money, not by giving it away. He's a guy who showed his writer's room where he showed how he writes his scripts. And in the writer's room, there were no other writers but him. So because he wants to save money so badly, he writes this whole script himself. He plays every single character. There could be five women in the show. He plays all five women so that he doesn't have to pay anybody. Right. So what Tyler did to me that was a favor to everybody in the industry was he said, I'm not going to continue to build on this studio until I see where AI is going, because in his mind, he's programming how much money he can save by not hiring human beings or not flying to locations and not having to coordinate expensive travel for a bunch of Hollywood actors. AI allows Tyler in 5 to 10 years to make a complete movie without leaving his house, without hiring hardly anybody, without even hiring the actors. Did y'all know that Hollywood actors are now getting their voices, their faces, and their bodies scanned so that in the future, in the next 2 to 3 years, really, they'll be able to make a whole entire movie with Michael Jackson in it, and Michael Jackson ain't even here. Or they can make a Tom Cruise movie, and Tom Cruise didn't even leave his house to make the movie. They literally got a body double to do all his scenes and all his roles and AI to create the backgrounds, and they just licensed Tom Cruise's image from him. James Earl Jones signed a massive deal. Did you? How many of y'all knew about this? James Earl Jones signed a massive deal where the Star Wars franchise gets to use his voice for Darth Vader for all of eternity. Did y'all know that? How many of y'all knew about that? Right. So these are the things that are happening. So with AI, it's kind of just changing the game quite a lot. And I encourage you to make sure you're keeping up with that because a lot of the jobs that are here now won't be here in 5 or 10 years. But don't panic though, because remember, every time there's a new technology, everybody gets scared to death because their job is going to disappear. When the automobile came along, people that used to jockey horses for a living and control the buggies and the carriages, those people got scared too. Those people are like, oh my God, what's going to happen to our jobs? This is the end of the world. No, it wasn't. When electricity was introduced, there were people that didn't want, there were millions of people that refused to have electricity put into their house because they swore that electricity was filled with evil spirits and demons that were going to come in and do whatever demons do. So ultimately, a lot of the fear is not only not beneficial, but it is not something that it's not going to solve the problem and it's not necessary. You just have to adjust, though. People that adjust are going to do better than people that don't adjust. One way to adjust to AI that's very straightforward is any extra money that you're making. I encourage you to accelerate your stock market investing. There's a list of AI stocks. I gave you guys the list. If you want the list, if you haven't gotten it, just text the word stock to 87948. If you text stock to 87948, I'll send you a list of AI stocks that I like. And these are companies that are going to make money with AI. In fact, that leads to another investing principle that we've discussed that's important for you to know, which is diversification. What smart investors do is they don't look at what's happening now, they look at what's coming down the pike. They're not thinking about what's happening in 2024. They're looking at 2025, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they're saying, okay, what's the world going to look like then? So if you know that you're in an industry that's going to be threatened by AI, then but you're making income now, then the best thing to do is to take that income and start investing in something that's going to make money in the future. So what does that mean? Well, that maybe means that I'm going to go find companies that will benefit from AI. Like there's an AI ETF. I think the ticker symbol is AIQ, that you can buy shares in. Just take that extra money to buy shares in the AIQ, right? So that way, when the AI people are making money, you're not sitting on the sidelines mad about it. You're happy about it because you bought some shares in that company. Do you know how my wife and I became owners of Nvidia? We did because our son just told us in 2018, he said, yeah, this company Nvidia, they make chips for all the video games that I play. You should buy Nvidia. I said, okay. I didn't do much more due diligence. I just kind of said, okay, well, all right, well, the stock's probably efficiently priced because I know about something that most people don't know about called the efficient markets hypothesis. That's why, even as a finance professor, I can pretty much assume that it's probably trading at a price that's reasonable based on what people know about this company. So I bought the stock and it was $41 a share. I bought it by maybe 10, 20 shares or something like that, not that many. And now that thing is worth thousands. The $5,000 investment my wife and I made is now worth about $80,000 or something like that. And it was really because our son just said, you know, go ahead and invest here. And the thing about it though is, so here's my point. I think to be a good investor, you want to form the right habits. One of the right habits is just to get in the habit of buying assets consistently over time. If you consistently buy quality assets, I'm not talking about your cousin Willie's liquor store and putting your life savings behind, your sister's beauty salon. Yeah, I'm not talking about those kinds of investments. I'm talking about little pieces here and there. Okay, I bought 10 shares of this, I bought a few shares of Microsoft, I bought a few shares of Apple or whatever. You do that consistently. People that do that end up becoming rich people. Most people in America become quiet millionaires or what they call the automatic millionaire in the book by David Bach called The Automatic Millionaire. He talks about all these people that consistently invest in little things. It might even be their 401k, and they quietly become millionaires without any like fanfare. They didn't get a record deal, nothing like that. They just did the same thing over and over again. And these are regular people that drive Ford pickup trucks and Toyota Corollas who go to work every day. That's the kind of millionaire that I think is much more stable than the person who gets access to the fast money. The fast money usually is easy come, easy go. But if you are a person that seeks the consistent money, that consistent money tends to be more stable. All right, so let's see here. Shaquana says, after the Prime meeting last night, I was a little confused about executing the call option on E-Trade. When I sell the call option, you know what? This since we're not really do options are beyond the scope of what we do on Tuesdays. This is more portfolio power play, Shaquana. But Amani's right there in the chat, and Amani can give you access to prior trainings that we've done. One thing about the Prime program is we have probably now I'm gonna guess about 100 different class sessions that we've met, maybe 70 or 80. And so there are videos in there that they kind of cover that type of stuff. And also there is a link where Prime members can leave me a question, and I will go in and I'll answer that question for you in all the detail in the world. And so we'll make sure you're 100% clear on everything. So thank you for your question, Shaquan. Absolutely. And I like your smiley face. You seem like a very nice person. I like nice people. Okay. So, all right. So let's see here. A couple more things. So I want to remind everybody tonight, my wife, who is a therapist, she's a relationship therapist. She is big on family and relationships. And we're going to do something tonight called the Love and Money Lab, where we're going to talk about love and money. And we're going to have some lessons on love and money, how to deal with conflicts in your family that relate to love and money, how to integrate money into your marriage or your relationships without allowing money to destroy them. If you're interested, you can go to the loveandmoneylab.com. If you'd like to join the Love and Money Lab and get access to everything we've done, it's a big, fat, gigantic portfolio of trainings and stuff like that. You can go to theloveandmoneylab.com. You can use the discount code BlackLove2024, all one word, and it'll take, I think, about 70% off or something like that. So we give you a lot of opportunities to participate. And where this benefits you is that if you're able to really manage your money properly and manage your relationships, it tends to go hand in hand. And most of the money I've made in my life came from good relationships with other people. People, the internet loves to gossip and speculate, and I guess that comes with the territory. And so people speculated that my wife married me because I had money, and really, actually, my wife already had money when we got married. But with that woman, I've made, millions of dollars over time because she is a great asset to my life. And so anyway, so one of the things I will tell you is that my wife is an asset to me. I try to be an asset to her. And a lot of this comes through consistent investment in the relationship. We started to see a therapist early, not because we had problems, but because I wanted to avoid problems. Because every couple, every relationship has conflict. I don't care what relationship you're in, you're always going to have disagreements. And what the difference maker is how you handle those disagreements. So I said, I want to handle the disagreements in a way that's going to be productive, where we're going to land on our feet and get back to being successful and helping each other succeed. So my wife and I have a little academic department. We're both professors, and she still works at a university. I don't. I started the Black Business School, but my office is right next to hers. And every morning we come downstairs, we get a cup of coffee. We have a water machine and a hot. It makes hot and cold water. And I make my coffee and I get my water and I come in my office. She goes into hers. We take lunch breaks together and then we take naps together in the afternoon and then we get right back to it. And it's just like it was when I was on the faculty at Syracuse, except my colleague across the hall is the prettiest woman I've ever seen in my life, and I can go over and I could pinch her booty and I won't get in trouble with HR, and I can give her kisses on the cheek and not get in trouble for that. And it's the best feeling in the world. So ultimately what I want you to really think about is how money can help you craft the life that you want. I want you to really think about what money does in terms of being able to really shape the existence that you want to have. Life is short. I mean, you shouldn't be spending your time doing things you don't want to do. And but consciousness is required. And that's why every morning we do financial consciousness, because I want you to understand all the different ways money affects our lives. If you look around and you see how many relationships are in shambles, or how many people have been financially ruined from a bad relationship, how many friendships have been destroyed because of money, how many friendships, would be very profitable if two people could actually get along and do something productive together. And that is an art. That is a science. That is something that I encourage you to really study and understand, so that so you don't mess it up, so you don't have a lot of regrets. Because remember, the word poor, what does the word poor stand for? We talked about this. The word poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. And so I would say that a lot of us end up poor because we pass over opportunities to build wealth. Because income is not a problem. Black people have plenty of income. We have 1.6 trillion per year in income. All income is not wealth. Income is not wealth. Income is not wealth. All income is an opportunity to have wealth. That's what it is. So if black people have all this income and we have more income than 95% of the countries on this planet, the question you must ask yourself is why do we not have any wealth or why is our wealth going backward? Well, it's because we're poor. What does that mean? Well, poor means we're passing over opportunities repeatedly. We're getting income, which is the opportunity to build wealth. We're passing over that opportunity and we stay exactly where we are. So ultimately, what I want you to understand is that the only way to go from having income to having wealth to really remember income is like a football game where they give you the ball. And but getting the ball does not mean you score. Getting the ball does not mean you get points. You do not get points for getting a kickoff in a football game. You only get points if you can get into the end zone. In basketball, you get the ball, but that's not the same as putting the ball in the basket. Having the ball is an opportunity to put the ball in the basket. So ultimately, when it comes to wealth and your income, knowing what you need to do, understanding how to find your way to the basket, find your way to the end zone, through financial literacy, financial consciousness, awareness, economic awareness. That is how you go from having the opportunity to have wealth to actually manifesting and creating wealth in your life. And this requires strategic thinking, it requires planning, it requires commitment, discipline, a lot of the things that are completely opposite to the culture that's being promoted to Black folks. So, poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. We are poor because that's exactly what we do. We get income, we don't turn that into wealth. That's an opportunity wasted. And then next thing you know, the kids and grandkids are starting over with nothing, even though we worked our entire lives. I mean, think about how many people there are who work their whole life, work their butt off their whole life, and die with less money than they had when they were born. That's terrible. That's beyond passing over opportunities. That's literally to the point where you might as well have never even have taken a job ever in your life in the first place. Okay. So let's go back to the questions here. What is your daily routine with researching stock and stock options? I consistently consume financial information. I do a lot of things that I think are good investments for my mental and physical health. I'm constantly meditating on things. I sit on the porch and think about stuff. I'll go to the gym and work out. And the whole time I'm doing that, I'm always taking in information. I'm always reading and and watching stuff and listening to stuff. And I love to listen to other people's opinions, especially if they disagree with me, because I want to understand the other side of the argument. Again, that's another part that's very anti-culture. The culture doesn't encourage you to listen to people who disagree with you. If you look on the internet, whenever somebody disagrees, first thing they do is they call the other person an idiot. And and it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And what I honestly do now is, for the most part, when people come into, if I do a YouTube chat or something and people come in and they start saying, "Oh, you're stupid" or whatever, I don't even get mad. I don't say much to them. I just block them because I don't have time for that. I'm a professor. I don't have to be here. I have no interest in debating with people that have one thousandth of my qualifications on this. It doesn't mean I know more than them or that I know all the answers. It just means that arguing with you is not going to help us to achieve the goal. So ultimately, consuming information, learning from everyone, understanding each other's perspective, I think is the best way to getting the knowledge that you need to be successful. Do you think, let's see, do you have an age limit for Forex trading? Asked Jamela. No, there are kids that are doing Forex trading. They're little baby children. Actually, if you text the word Forex to 87948, we do have a Forex training, a Forex boot camp happening Friday with Michael Edwards, one of our adjunct faculty that's running our B1 Forex Academy. So text the word Forex to 87948. If you text Forex to 87948, I will send you a link today to join the Forex event on Friday night. Sorry, I was trying to get stuff right because we do so much in the Black business, so it's hard to remember everything. And then 8 o'clock that night, we're doing another event with another visitor by the name of Ace Chapman. He joined our faculty as well. He teaches business acquisitions. Ace is this guy who's known around the world for acquiring multi-million-dollar companies by putting no money down. And he's really good at it. And I'm honored that he's joining us in the Black Business School. Thursday night, we have Dr. Christina Parks, D1, the rapper. He's going to show how he was able to make millions of dollars as an independent artist. We're gonna do a partnership with him. If you know D1, he's really been instrumental in reshaping hip hop culture. And one thing people don't know about D1 is that he is an expert businessman. He's the only rapper I've ever known who had an opportunity to sign with Lil Wayne's record label and turned it down. He turned it down because he has a conscience. He turned it down because it didn't align with his spirit. And despite that, though, he's been able to really do really well as an independent artist. So I said, come in, let's work together and let's just share what you know. So we've had a lot of great people. Damon Dash came by for a while during Intelligent Boss Moves. There's a lot of good people that come by. Let's see, what did you suggest everyone do in regards to that? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm sorry. You have to give me like a complete sentence at the question and or the question, that way I can answer it. You got two kids at IU. I think that's very cool. Yeah, I went to IU, met my wife there. It's a very special day. I wrote about her in my journal. That night I wrote, today I met the most beautiful woman in the world, and I was able to show her that at my wedding. And yeah, yeah, I really felt that way. All right, so let's see here. Stephen, how will commercial real estate affect my dividend REITs? Most companies, Stephen, don't change their dividend because they know that when they reduce their dividend, that is a very bad signal to the market regarding where what the status of the company is. So a lot of companies won't drop their dividend. So your dividend, what will happen is the yield will go up if the stock price drops. So if you have a stock that's, say, trading at $100 and it has a 6% dividend yield, that means that if you take the dividend amount per year divided by the stock price, you get 6%. So if the stock price drops from 100 to 80, well, the dividend is typically going to stay the same unless the company's under severe financial strain, um, because they want to maintain a position of strength. So what will happen is that the dividend amount stays the same, so the yield ends up going up because the yield is the dividend amount divided by the stock price. So dividend paying stocks are really good during like recessions when you have what they call a flight to quality, where people are looking for investments that are going to pay dividends where they don't have to worry about getting the capital gains and all that. Dividend stocks are good for people that are maybe close to retirement. We're going to do some stuff on retirement very, very soon in the Black Business School because there is a retirement crisis happening in America right now. A third of all Americans between the ages of 65 and 70 have to go to work every day. And this is only going to get worse because most Americans are not prepared for retirement. So we are really, really, really going to dig into this. This is something that I believe is incredibly important for our community. And in fact, actually, if you want to be notified, we're going to do some work on retirement, estate planning, stuff like that. If you want to receive some of this retirement information and legacy planning, estate planning, stuff like that when it's ready, just text the word legacy to 87948. And Alicia, you're asking the code for Forex again. Yeah, it's the same thing. Keep that number nearby. It's 87948. Everything is 87948. But it depends on what you want to know from the Black Business School. So we have a Forex department. We have a retirement planning, legacy, and stuff like that. So if you want to get information we have on retirement planning, legacy planning, stuff like that, text the word legacy to 87948. If you want to know about Forex, text Forex, Forex, Forex to 87948. There we go. So you put that in your phone. All you do is you punch in that number 87948, and then just like you're sending a text message to someone, just put that word in there. And when you send in the word, then you'll get a response from us letting you know that you're on the list. And what we'll do is we'll send you information as we develop it. We are actively and assertively developing plans for retirement because we've noticed that that is a big issue for a lot of you, and we want to make sure that we deal with that. Okay. All right. So anyway, I hope you will allow, I see one more question. Sorry, let me answer. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, you already, okay. So Alicia already answered your question. I like that name, Alicia. Hey, Alicia. All right. So a couple things. Tonight, my wife is and I are going to do the Love and Money Lab. So if you want to go to theloveandmoneylab.com, you can be a member and get access to all the trainings that we've done so far, access to a lot of her books for free, stuff like that. Just go to theloveandmoneylab.com. Use the code word BlackLove2024. The Love and Money Lab is special because we need to fix our relationships and the drama in our families so we can fix the economics. That's tonight at 8 o'clock. Also, and my glasses, oh, my glasses just, isn't that weird? My glasses literally, I heard a little noise and my glasses like literally just broke right while I was talking to you. So you know what? I'm gonna try to put them on. Hopefully it won't mess up. That was weird. All right. So the second thing, tomorrow night we are meeting for Powernomics training, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That is, Corey says, don't forget my question. Well, if you have a, or Cecil, I'm sorry, Cece Elliott. If you have a question, if you say, don't forget my question, I don't know what your question was. So put the question in. It's okay to ask the question again if I miss it. So if you put it in there, CC, I'll try to answer it before we go because I don't know what the question. I just see you saying don't forget my question, but I don't know what the question is. Um, but anyway, so tomorrow night we're doing Powernomics training. That's free as well. Text the word greatness to 87948, and I'll send you a link to join us for tomorrow night's Powernomics training. Text greatness to 87948. And then Friday night, that's when we're doing the Forex boot camp if you want to learn about Forex. And also Ace Chapman is teaching how to acquire businesses with no money down. That's a great way to make money. One thing that people don't talk enough about is a great way to increase income, quit your job, build a family legacy, stuff like that, is to acquire businesses or franchises. We have actually a whole franchising program in the Black Business School that was taught by attorney Tanya Nebo, who has seen lots of families earn lots of money by literally buying franchises, which is great because you don't have to figure out the business model. They give you the whole blueprint, and then next thing you know, you're running the Subway franchise or whatever. So feel free to take a look at that. That's all at the Black Business School. Okay, guys. So I'm out of here. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me go fix my glasses. I asked if it was sad that said that MSOS was a good, but yeah, MSOS Kamisha. That's what I mentioned earlier. MSOS. That was the ticker for a cannabis ETF. I actually bought some shares in it this morning, so feel free to take a look at that. All right, so have a good day, everybody. God bless you. I'll see you guys soon. Take